We're not just trying to find the people who are lost, but the lost voices, the lost stories, and the lost hope of their loved ones as well.
The two boys that were in the vehicle and their parents that helped cover up the vehicle are all guilty.
We want the families to know that people still give a damn.
I saw my father put his hands around her neck, and then he carried her out of my sight.
Our name is also our mission. We are locating the lost.
I've accepted my brother's death. I can still talk to him. We just don't see him physically. And I know I'm a believer that I'm going to see him again one day.
Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and most podcast platforms.
And we're live. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and everyone watching this back as a recording. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Just the two of us tonight. We don't have a guest. We're just kind of gonna recap some of the stuff that we've already gone over and go over a couple things from the search we did up in Washburn over the weekend. But hopefully it's not too dry for you guys. And if you guys have already heard this, sorry about that. But it's definitely just stuff we want to kind of touch back on.
Yeah, and in case you've been living under a rock the last couple of weeks, you're probably aware that Chandler Cole was arrested, multiple charges, and we'll go over those charges just a little bit as well. All right. So how this all starts is Ateen Shaw went missing in Washburn, Maine, September 2021. So not real sure what day she actually went missing, as her husband waited almost 2 months to say that she was missing, report her missing. So after her family convinces him to report his wife missing, he contacts the police department, and Chandler Cole is the officer who shows up to take the report. Husband says she left him and went to work on a cruise ship. So if you guys remember what was going on that time frame, COVID was running rampant, right? Not a lot of cruise ships going around at that point. I remember there was a cruise ship docked in New York City for, what was it, like a month or something, 3 weeks?
Yeah. I don't remember the name of it. They're using it as like a quarantine area.
Yeah. And Jeff made a good point the other day when we were driving back from Presque Isle, talked about this case. Who's to say that, and this is just an opinion, so Chandler, don't come hunt me down and sue me. But who's to say that Chandler maybe kind of direct the conversation with Mike Shaw, Ateen's husband, to say, oh, maybe she went to work on a cruise ship. Oh, yeah. Maybe she went to work on a cruise ship. Well, Mike decides that sounds pretty good. That's the way the report's written up. Case closed. Nothing to see here, folks. She's had no communication with her family or friends. Then February 14th, 2024, State Police Crime Unit searched the home and property she shared with her husband. Evidence bags were removed from the home. So they have not come out to say what they removed from the home. Nobody's been charged with her missing person case. But I also find it interesting that Ateen's house is right near the same location where we searched for Erik this past weekend. I wonder...
right down there, like within a mile.
Do you suppose state police were involved, Jeff, as far as like looking for Erik as well at the same time, or you think they just strictly went there to look for Ateen because that's what the search warrant was for?
I didn't even consider that. I can't imagine so. Like, they're going to show up for one specific reason, right? Like, they show up because they're trying to gather evidence and call it good with that.
So has anyone heard anything more about Ateen's case? I know, Kara, you're highly involved with the case as you run the Missing Ateen Shaw page on Facebook. Have you heard any updates on that? If you have, please let us know in the comments or give us a call. So then we have Erik Foote. I have to tell you, Washburn, Maine, how many people live in Washburn? I think I saw like 15,000 I read.
15,000?
Yeah. Is that too
much? It's a lot less than that.
1,500. Or maybe it's 1,500.
Yeah,
Been a long
about
day.
roughly 1687. This was updated for 2023.
So 1,600 people live in Washburn, small little town, and 2 of them go missing on the Washburn Road, within a mile and a half of each other. So Erik Foote disappeared January 30th, 2024. We went over this timeline last time on March 27th when we covered Erik's case on the podcast. Just 2 days later, Officer Cole gets arrested, and we'll go over those charges in just a moment. So January 30th, the morning of January 30th, 2024, the temperatures were around 18 degrees. Around 4 a.m., Officer Cole encounters Erik in the early morning outside of his home in full stage of a mental health crisis. Erik is a veteran. Like, he deserved better. He deserved help. He was wanting. Where did I leave off? Oh, see. Officer Cole does not call for any assistance for Erik. So he leaves Erik in his front yard. Erik, at that time, I don't believe even had a shirt on, and obviously in distress. And then around 1:15, Officer Cole sees Erik on the side of the walk. Still in a panic state, no jacket.
Nope. Your microphone is kind of messing up for a little bit here.
All right,
I'll
you go
finish
ahead and
that.
read.
January 30th, at about 1:15 p.m., Officer Cole sees Erik on the side of the Washburn Road. Erik is still in a manic state with no jacket and short sleeve shirt. Officer Cole then has Erik get into his cruiser for a ride. At approximately 1:20 p.m. on the same day, Officer Cole initially tells the family that he dropped Erik off at the hospital. Later, through dispatch records, it's revealed that he left him at Freshies in Presque Isle. At least he claims he did, because there are some reports that he was seen there from other people, and some that he wasn't. There's no actual camera footage that we know of Erik Foote being dropped off there. So then that evening and overnight, and this is still unconfirmed, Erik is not seen on CCTV at Freshies. Cole is the last confirmed contact with Erik. There is a report of a minister who sees Erik walking back towards his house on the Washburn Road. And then February 19th, the search for Erik on the Washburn Road. The Sheriff's Department conducted the only search for Erik off the Washburn Road. Officers and dogs find no sign of Erik. Now, I did speak with the deputy that's handling it now. What was his name?
Forrest, right? Forrest.
I can't remember. Either way, and he said that they took over the case. I think it was February 8th was when they took over the case.
Is my mic working okay now, Jeff? Sound right?
Yes.
All right. So, Kara, that's a good point. She said, I honestly think state police should take over Erik's case too. Then they can look better for connections between the two cases easier. It's super possible they are connected and more than just an officer that took the report. Absolutely,
and that could be the connection in this. And at this point, as far as I know, there's a lot of stuff that people are trying to get access to, whether it be calls, like logs to dispatch and stuff like that. That I think a lot of stuff involving Officer Cole is being investigated. So it's all, privileged information because it's regarding an investigation, because he's dealing with quite a few charges at this point.
All right, so let's talk about Chandler Cole, formerly Washburn Maine police officer, was arrested March 29th, 2024. So he had 4 charges against him: aggravated forgery, Class B, which carried a minimum of 2-year sentence. But as I said earlier, probably all but 30 days will be removed, right? Or,
So all but 30 suspended.
right. Falsifying physical evidence, Class D. Tampering with public records, information, Class D. Unsworn falsification, Class D. So the Washburn PD contacted a third-party investigator. So he hired Daryl Crandall from Florida, who happened to be the former sheriff of Aroostook County to take a look at this case and see what's going on. And through Crandall's investigation, this is when they came up with all these different charges. I gotta say, if you really want to get this figured out, there's two ways of looking at it. Did they bring in Crandall because he knows a lot of the people in the area and figured that they would talk to him? Or did they bring him in because they knew that he's part of the whole good old boy network and maybe not mention things that are going on? I feel like there's a lot of cover-up.
We don't want to think that way, but you can't rule it out either, right? Like, but now as of what was it, 2 weeks ago, something like that, or at the end of March or the start of March, like they don't have a police department anymore up in Washburn. All like dispatch calls handled for Washburn go through the sheriff's department, and I think that the sheriff's department and state police, I think, will handle all of that. So they have nothing actually running. We spoke with the town manager, and she kind of confirmed some of the dates, and they did have a meeting to discuss that with the residents of Washburn to let them know what was going on. They're going to be having a vote. I think it's April. Is it April? It was 19th. I'll have to look back at the messages. They have a vote coming up fairly soon about whether or not they're even going to continue, if they have the funds to continue supporting a police department or not.
Who the hell's going to come take that job?
I know, and well, that was the thing, and I can read off what the conversation was between the two of us here a little bit. So, skip through some of this. Our police department is temporarily closed as our chief that we shared with another town had planned to be done January 30th. Right, he was gonna right after Erik had gone missing. Obviously this was decided beforehand, but we had hired a new chief that was going to start March 1st, so the old chief said that he would stay on until the end of February. The new chief decided not to take the position, so that left us with no chief, no department. We'll have an informal meeting on the 10th, which they already held, and then a referendum to vote in June 11th as to whether or not to keep that department or not. It will be a town decision. And I asked what made the new chief coming in change his mind. And one thing he was looking at was the surgery. So that was gonna happen in February. That got changed to late March. It was up in the air as to how long he would be out, and that left with no chief. They said that they've been trying to hire officers between $34 and $35 an hour. They had like 4 applicants. None of them had any experience. And the rest of this is...
Hey, Jeff, you want to move to Aroostook County? $35 an hour?
Yeah.
So Jen and Heidi both let us know. So Forrest's last name is Dudley.
Dudley. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, guys.
And now, regarding Chandler Cole's charges as well, this is an important note. One of the very specific things relating to Erik's case is that he had gone in and changed the records. He had initially, because he told the family...
Oh, yeah. That's the next slide here.
Oh, is that? Okay.
Yeah, so I'll read off what this one says. But Chief Investigator Crandall's investigation report, he states, it appears that Sergeant Cole received a phone call from Erik's father, Alan Foote, requesting information on his son's last whereabouts. Sergeant Cole lied, stating that Erik had been taken to Presque Isle Hospital, which, no, that's where he should have taken him. Just call 911 if he didn't want to deal with it. Like, get an EMT. Well, I guess he doesn't have to call 911, but get an EMT unit there to help Erik in a state of distress. You know, if Chandler Cole isn't able to help him, get someone who can.
Yeah, and we're not giving out any names, but we had heard from very, very reliable sources while we were up there doing the search that he had a history of not dealing with people who are in a mental crisis sort of state. He absolutely had like no patience or tolerance for people who were having a medical issue. Now, again, this is hearsay, but it came from reliable sources. Like I said, that when people were having an issue, he was absolutely no help in those scenarios. If anything, would make it worse.
Right. And we should say Erik has a history of PTSD. You know, he's a former veteran. You would think that he was the type of guy that would be the first to go out and help look for. Like, he protected our country when it was his time, and now it's our time to try to protect him, right?
Yeah, and his mother had made a statement. I'm not sure if we still have that on one of these slides, but she had said that he was a very generous guy. You'd give someone like the shirt off his back. He was a very caring and generous guy. And then to just be abandoned by someone else who is another person whose job it is to uphold the law and take care of people, he just wouldn't do it, refused to do it.
So let's see. Alan later confronted Sergeant Cole because he called the hospital. They had no record of Erik ever being dropped off there or anything, or ever being seen. So he contacted Sergeant Cole via phone regarding his lie. Sergeant Cole proceeded to access Spillman, which is the computer system that the dispatch unit up there uses to put in the reports, right? So he accessed Spillman with his ID to make altercations the information card to corroborate the lie. This fabrication of information directly impacted law enforcement's investigation into Erik's missing person case conducted by the Aroostook Sheriff's Department. Man, I don't know why that's doing that. It's cutting off some of the slides here.
Yeah, sorry guys, we've been having some issues with our slides. It's
So here's the timeline again. Around 1:20, Cole drops Erik Foote off. Oops, I gotta change that.
Oh, you good?
Taking that out. I am good. So basically, he dropped him off at Freshies at 1:20. He then, the father reaches out, tries to find out where his son is. They claim he's gone off to the hospital. He's not there. Let's see. Am I able to look at that without adding it to the stage? I guess I can't.
We do have a comment in here. Oh, where did it go? From Keith. I believe I saw him on the evening of January 30th on Castle Hill Road, about a quarter mile from the bridge of the Washburn Road, around 5 p.m. Keith, I think you're the gentleman that we talked to outside of Trailways, correct? You're on the ATV? Yeah, because that was near the abandoned house, right?
So one thing I did want to say about Cole accessing Spillman. After the Cole's user ID on Spillman was used to modify the record, moving the comments. So here's the initial comments. He wants to go to PI, so Presque Isle, so I'm going to give him a ride to Freshies. And then he replaced those comments with, he wants to go to Presque Isle Hospital.
Right, so he got in there and altered the police records, which I believe is one of the charges he's facing right now. So whether or not he is directly involved in Erik's disappearance, he's at least, by proxy involved with him not being taken care of, him being missing today because he didn't bring him to where he absolutely needed to be to get attention. So there is proof of this. So let me bring up, I have to give a little bit, was there more that we wanted to cover with him for now? Or I could move on to...
Yeah, I can move on to the search. Is that what you're going to...
Yeah, I wanted to play a little video that we'd gotten from the news. Two of the ladies that were spearheading the search for Erik, Stacy and Jess, awesome ladies, very compassionate about the search, but the local news showed up to cover that, so I wanted to play. Oh, okay. I wanted to play the clip from that.
Rescue took place for an Aroostook County man yesterday. Megan Wassican was there and has the story.
These folks have come together in hopes of finding signs of Erik Foote, who has been missing since January 30th of this year.
From a baseball cap to his headphones, anything at all, we need to look everywhere, you know, the river, the railroad bed, any ATV trails.
The search covered from Washburn to Crossville through neighborhoods and wooded areas.
And we have locating the lost. They have drones, so they'll be doing around the river today. We'll have people on foot here in town, knocking on doors, asking permission to look around.
Even though some of the folks did not know Foote personally, they have strong reasons for joining the search.
What if it was your child? You know, that's what motivated me. If my child was missing.
It's important to me because Erik was a veteran, and we don't leave them behind.
Finding signs of Foote is top priority.
We're here for Erik. That's our priority. We are here to find Erik. We're not on a search for anything else.
Baker says she is thankful for everyone who has and will continue to help aid in the search for Foote.
And that was Megan Wassikin reporting.
All right. So that was the first lady that you saw there. That was I can scroll to that. That's Stacy there. She was like the mama bear spearheading all of this. And
she's awesome.
Yeah, and that's Jess. I believe Jess is also a member of the military. I know that her boyfriend is Anthony. Very wonderful people. But we just wanted to give a shout out to them because they did an awesome job coordinating all of the search and, they were organizing awesome. Everything. And they were a bit dismayed on the first day because they didn't think that there was quite enough people that showed up. And I can understand that. We still had like 24 or more people that showed up on the first day. And I mean, could have been more, but it could have been a lot less. It could have just been us like 6 out there. So thank you to anyone that did show up. But obviously they still want anyone who lives in the Washburn area, or if you're driving through, keep your eyes open. There are a lot of trails. So if anyone's ATVing up there and the weather's finally turning for the best, so people hiking, that sort of thing, keep your eyes open for anything that looks suspicious or odd. The last that we knew that Erik was wearing was a pair of jeans, and it was a black t-shirt, correct?
Yes.
And he had two pairs of boots, and both were darker in color. But if anyone is out there doing anything in Washburn, passing through, whatnot, if you have time to stop and check anything, it would be greatly appreciated to do that.
He also had I think they said a black Celtics hat, and the headphones were either Patriots or Red Sox headphones.
Yeah,
the style that Jeff is wearing there.
He had two different hats, but I think one was Celtics, and I don't remember what the other one was. I think they were both black or darker
Celtics and Red Sox. Yep, one's a B,
okay.
And then one's the Shamrock.
Okay.
And I got to say, as far as like people showing up, I wonder if, I can't remember if it was Jess or who said this, but I wonder if people are afraid. Like, this is the town cop that potentially could be involved in some way, one way or the other. Either he fucked up and didn't do his job the right way, and now someone's missing, and he's trying to cover his trail, or he was directly involved with the disappearance.
Right, and I could understand that as well, because he was on an unsecured bail, right, or unsecured bond, so like he's not even in jail. They just released him because they honestly, from the sounds of it, they don't really have anything to charge him with other than being a piece of shit cop. And yeah, Dudley will get the job. I spoke with Dudley today, Officer Dudley, and he seemed genuine. He seemed very transparent about things, at least the things that we're allowed to talk about. And he seemed very sympathetic to what the family's going through. They're obviously very devastated about this. But he did care. He had, made sure to reach out, and he apologized for not getting back sooner. But I believe he said he was going to speak to the family today to sort of catch up with them and go over things, because the case has been recently handed over to him. he's the lead on things right now.
And I got to say, like, I mean, we're hearing all kinds of rumors and unconfirmed things, and we may know more than we're able to talk about here, but we also don't want to inhibit the investigation and cause them to not be able to prosecute to the fullest extent. So we're trying to tiptoe around things, and hopefully we don't.
There's a couple things that we can't necessarily talk about because we don't actually know, right? We don't know who or what's involved. There are a couple things that we can vaguely mention. There's some things that appear as though Cole may have potentially moved some evidence or moved some things around to potentially implicate Erik in some other things. Again, we can't go into too many details, but there's a couple areas of interest. We had found a piece of property that belonged to someone involving another incident that could connect. It definitely connects these two places together. One of them being Erik's house. So there's a bit more happening in the background. So if it does to anyone appear as though things aren't necessarily happening, there are things that are sort of moving. We just don't know where they're going yet.
And really, we were hoping we could share more information with you tonight. And initially, we thought we could, and then the family had requested that we kind of keep hold things back. Just Erik's privacy and nothing's really founded yet, right?
So we just want to make sure that we know everything before we start. we have plenty of speculation all on our own, but we don't need to be throwing that around to everybody listening and making things worse. We can go. Let me play some of this. This is just a little bit of I'll just have this sort of running in the background while we talk about some more things. This is just some rough drone footage that we had taken while we were out there. So we were searching up and down the river in different spots as we're going along. There was a big force of people searching the different areas that Erik was last known to be, or assumed to have been at least. There was quite a bit of work that was done while we were up there. The girls that were with us doing a lot of questioning and all the people that volunteered to help did a lot of legwork out there.
Definitely a lot of area. There's go some ducks. Definitely a lot of area covered. Jeff and myself as well. We were out there trudging through muddy swamps. Kara says, so I'm wondering if Cole is crooked, are the rest of the officers up north shady too? Good boys club type thing. I mean, I don't want to.
You'd like to think officers. That we're past that phase. You'd like to, and from everything I gathered through most of the interactions with some of the police up there, everyone seems to be on the level, but it's hard to tell.
Christina says this town seems very scary. People should be afraid. No one is safe. Search his property. I'm guessing you're talking about Cole's property, maybe.
Let me see. I'm sorry if we've missed some of the comments through this. We had quite a bit of stuff that we wanted to get through. We'll just get this up here. So if anyone is watching or does know anything about Erik or Attiin, you can contact the Aroostook County Sheriff's Office at 207-532-3471. And you'd be looking to get a hold of Officer Forrest Dudley, was it?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That's a sharp turn up there.
I know. Sorry if I give motion sickness to anyone. This, like I said, this is just raw stuff. The cameras, the drones were acting a little funny. It was very windy out that day. We almost lost our drones a couple times. Actually, there was one funny part where one of the spots we tried to stop a gentleman let us use his property to launch our drones from. Very nice guy, but we get down to a beautiful clearing, awesome spot to launch it from, and I get my drone just out over the water, and I get a warning that it's going to automatically descend my drone because we're in the flight path of the airplanes. So I almost had to go swimming for my drone. I got it back to shore in time.
You definitely panicked.
Oh, I was freaking out. It's only the couple times that we've managed to get these things out there.
I should say also, Jen and Julia from Northland Investigation Services came up with their dogs. I'm not sure what they found. I wasn't able to speak to them at all, but we appreciate them coming up as well. I do have another comment here. If anyone lives in this area, thank you for having Ayla as your profile picture, Dominique. I did notice something suspicious today by Washburn Trail side on the trail. I was working, so I couldn't stop, but there was a styrofoam cooler, duct tape, and left on the edge of the road. It looked weird. I wish I could have stopped. So if anyone's in that area.
A quick note to that too, and I'm not trying to do trash on Washburn or the areas surrounding it, but there was a lot of roadside trash.
I'm surprised how much was out there in the woods too.
Yeah, out in the woods too, there was an awful lot. I mean, it's one thing we're in Maine, right? Like, it's not uncommon to see like abandoned vehicles and stuff, but there was a lot of like newer sort of stuff. And I just don't know if maybe people weren't tying up their trash on the way to the dump or whatnot, but there was a lot of roadside trash on there. So not to dismay people from checking things out, but just a heads up on that. Let me see if I can find some more of these comments. So has it been verified whether or not Cole has had any previous interactions with Erik previous to that night? Now, we had heard, I think it was from his father, Alan, that he thought that Cole was was harassing him a bit. We'd heard a couple of stories that made it sort of seem like Erik might have already sort of been on his shit list. We're not sure why, but yeah, they had a couple interactions before that didn't seem super friendly, you know. And Crystal, so I wonder if Erik was friends with the missing woman or if her husband was friends with Cole. We don't know that. That's we would like to know.
Erik had moved up there about 2 years ago, right?
I think so.
That would have been after Atteen disappeared. However, I don't know the timeline exactly, so there may have been a month that they were both in the same town.
Well, the thing is too, though, is Erik was really close with his grandmother, who's because when he moved up to Maine, it was initially, was it Caribou he lived in when he first moved up to Maine? I don't remember. Either way, his grandmother's house in Washburn, he was really close with her. So from what we'd heard, he did spend a fair amount of time with her anyway. So he wasn't new to Washburn, because even as a kid, he would come up and play like baseball and stuff. That was actually one of the interactions. Maybe I think it was with Cole, where he was walking, just out for a walk, and saw some kids playing baseball, and he sat down just to watch, and someone gave him a hard time.
No, it was the baseball coach or whatever came over and gave him a hard time, saying, "What are you doing here?"
Oh, okay. But yeah, he said, I used to play here, just watching things.
Erica Noon says, just wondering what time the minister has seen him again, and if it was clarified that he was seen at Freshies last. Has there been a search in the Freshies area? There's not been a search in the Freshies area. It's pretty much confirmed that his last sighting was on the Washburn Road, and that minister did see him there on the Washburn Road. And I believe, I don't want to guess the time because the timeline's been really sketchy, so I don't want to say anything, but I think it was around 4 p.m. or so. I just said I wouldn't do it, and I did it anyway.
Yeah, we're not entirely sure about a lot of these details. And like we said earlier, he had claimed, Cole had claimed that he dropped him off at Freshies, but we're not even entirely sure about that anymore. Like he said he did, but that we know of, there isn't any actual footage of him being there, and there is an alleged conversation that he had, but we don't personally know if that's even the case.
Christy says, I'm just going to remove this because I'm getting motion sickness.
Okay.
City officials and police knew about him for years and did nothing. So if anyone has any interactions with Cole that they would want to share with us or share with the police department, I'm sure the sheriff's department would love to hear that. I'm guessing I don't know the guy, but he doesn't seem like the best character. Where are we? I'm so far behind now with these comments. We really appreciate the comments, guys. I'm not
Yeah, we really do.
No.
Sorry if it does take a while for us to get back to some of these.
Hard to believe the dirty cops if the chief called in a private investigator for an unbiased investigation. But I don't even know how unbiased it would be. The guy was the sheriff of the county prior.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I think it's his father that was involved with another case we covered.
The boys on the track.
The boys on the track. About 3 boys that they had asleep, supposedly was the story. They fell asleep on the railroad tracks, got run over by a train. So they were so deeply asleep they never heard the train coming, and it's about 7 a.m. They never took a temperature of those boys' bodies to find an actual death. So if you guys get a chance, please look up that case as well. It's crazy. It happened in the same area up there. So where was he last seen on the Washburn Road? It was at least 9 miles. Jeff, you want to pull up the
yeah, I've got Google Earth right now. Okay, so where are we looking?
Washburn Road. I have the address here somewhere. If you want to zoom in to the river, it's pretty, you can usually see it.
Yeah, so the last, I've got it pinned here.
Oh, you had it pinned.
I had it pinned. Oh, that's Washburn, Maine, not the Washburn Road. So I believe.
Oh yeah. So I see a pin up there. Okay.
I believe this is what we'd initially heard, that roughly the last place that he was spotted, or it was on the other side of Crowsville. Right around here, supposedly, that he was, where the minister had seen him. We, like I said, the 2 ladies that we were working with, Jess and Stacy, we didn't know for the longest time who the minister was that had seen this, but they did recently find out who it was, and they're going to speak to him. So we do again plan on having another update of this as we find more stuff out, or as we're allowed to say more, and hopefully we can get the details as to where exactly he thought he saw him, and what time that was specifically.
Jeff, can you go more to the left?
Yeah, absolutely. So, is it?
I was looking for Ateen's house because it's right in the same area here.
I think
it's right in this area. Maybe.
Well, there's a little white shed.
Right up there to the left, a little bit further up.
Oh yeah, this is it right here.
So that's Ateen's house, and Eric's missing somewhere in that same general area, which is bizarre.
Yeah, it's so if we do a measurement from roughly where you were seen last, was it? That was 1.5 miles. One of these houses, I don't remember which one. Oh, this is it. Yeah. So 1.4 miles.
Yeah, so within a mile of each other. It's crazy.
I mean, it's a small town anyways, right? So 1.5 miles, you can get most of the population of Washburn.
Yeah, that's true. Christy has a comment. She said the only reason Attiin and Erik have garnered so much attention is because of community outrage. There's strength in numbers. Otherwise, they sweep it under the rug. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Christy. That's why we do this.
Exactly. And that has been our goal since the start of this, is we want to talk about the cases that no one else is talking about, to get some attention to them. And this is done, and not that we're taking any credit for it, but this shows that does work. People sharing these messages and getting it out there that's what gets attention on this. And maybe the cops were still going to be as invested, but like I said, when we talked to the officer today, he really seemed like he cared. He said that we care about getting answers to this as much as anybody else does. And it seemed genuine. It didn't just seem like it was a spin. He really did seem to care.
Yeah. Stephanie Blodgett says, did Erik have a phone on him when he went missing? If so, where was the last ping? So Erik's phone was actually found at his house. It was on the counter and it had been smashed. Hopefully I'm okay saying that, because it's hard to tell what we can talk about, what we can't say. David said, thank you for doing this. Thank you for tuning in, David. Oh, that would be smart to do for sure. Did you click on that?
Did I what? Oh, I might have accidentally clicked on something.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Sorry.
So Nick says if one of their officers or police officers could be involved, conflict of interest sort of thing. And I really hate to even say this, but Cole made his own bed. It appears that he lied about things. It appears he manipulated reports.
And that's what he's being charged with, at least, right? Is they can prove that he absolutely went in and changed public records.
Well, someone with his user ID went in and changed records.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't think that's the user ID that he would give away to different people. Kara had made a good point about having the state police involved. I think state police should take this over. Cole's son works for the sheriff's department. Like, how we talk about a conflict of interest, I feel like that could be a conflict of interest.
Not that he's related to this case whatsoever.
Right.
Oh, and I think Travis's internet's dying on him.
You see me all right?
Oh, there we go. You're back. Patricia Vaughn says Cole had access to Erik's house. And I mean, honestly, anyone, I guess, potentially gets access to someone's house, right? But
I'm so far back on these comments.
I know we do have a lot of comments, and it's just a thing that happens.
To be a moderator.
Yeah, we have to hire a moderator for this. Murray Jardine says, in my opinion, there's a lot of prejudice against people with mental illness, and yeah, it's
lack of training.
Lack of training, but especially in Cole's circumstance, it's just lack of compassion in general. It seems pretty obvious. But it's not just mental illness. Anyone with any sort of like drug use issues, there's a lot of people that don't get the attention that they deserve because there's a predisposed like prejudice against them. It's gross.
Patricia, I don't necessarily agree with this comment. It says, what a nice preacher not being in, everyone let him down.
Okay. Yeah. And the preacher, the minister had his son with him. And supposedly I think he had claimed that Erik was arguing with someone. Is that what it was? Or was that the morning before?
Yeah, No, he was seen, the minister saw him arguing with someone in a pickup. So
yeah, he wasn't going to stop with his young child in the vehicle with him, and potentially put his kid at risk, right? So I can understand that. I think he claimed he was going to drop his kid off and come back. I don't remember.
So as far as the cameras on them, I believe all the officers have cameras on them. I don't think they are constantly recording. I think the officer has to actually, select it to record.
Yeah, what they'll do for most of those cameras, right, is if something is starting to happen, if there's some sort of interaction, they think that they need to, they'll hit the button. It's in a constant state of recording, but once they hit the button, you'll get like the last 30 seconds will record, and then you'll have, I think the audio starts after that 30 seconds. Like it sort of it has the video running, but it's not always recording the audio. But if you have someone that's in a crisis state, and you have to pick them up and bring them to the hospital, you think that maybe that's a good justification for turning that camera on.
Yeah. Amy says, Freshy's right in town, Prescal. If anything was off, someone should have seen it. But I'm curious, has anyone looked at the footage from the day of Freshy's? So either Freshy's cameras didn't work or they didn't see anything. There is video from, I can't remember the name of the marijuana place next door there, but there was video there of the officers, the back of the officer's cruiser going behind Freshy's.
Yeah.
But
we actually
people.
we actually
Didn't see anyone
stopped there
exit
on our way out, leaving Prescott. Oh, and that was something.
We didn't stop to shop.
We didn't stop to shop. We got gas there, but we did stop there. And yeah, it's right in the middle of Presque Isle. But also, I did. He probably isn't going to be watching this, but we had a small cabin, beautiful little place actually, donated to us from a gentleman up there. Barry, was it?
Yes, Barry Churchill.
Barry Churchill. Yes, it was awesome. He gave us
Very
a place
kind.
to stay while we were out. Yeah, and that was a hookup through Stacy as well, one of her friends. So thank you for that, for giving us this place to stay while we were up there.
So Latasha said, so sad he is my ex. I don't know if she's talking about Erik or if she's talking about Cole or who's talking.
Sorry for laughing. I was just thinking.
Christina said, were you
Cole X.
friends with Erik? I don't know if she's asking us if we were friends with Erik. I've never met Erik in my life. I do talk to his mom quite a bit. As expected, his mom and dad are having a hard time with this, and they feel let down that the sheriff's department, the police department, aren't doing enough to find their son. And now it's kind of the focus is turned to Cole, but they still want to make sure people out there looking for Erik and looking for Attiin as well, like she's mentioned.
Right, we
name multiple times.
The goal isn't just to like, oh well, Cole did something wrong, so we need to prosecute him, and that's the end of it, right? No, that's far from the end of it. The end of it is when we have the answers as to where Erik is, what happened that night. That is the ultimate goal. I could care less what happens to Cole until we know for sure.
Yeah, great. So we talked about that as well. She's just posted a link to an article down in Tampa Bay. Cole was charged with a domestic violence situation. He did complete, I don't know how many days, if it's 30 days or was, but basically took a class.
Like anger management or something, and they just dismissed all the charges.
Charges were dropped, which made it not show up if they did a background check up here.
Yeah, we'd gone over that. We were wondering ourselves, like, how the hell does someone get into the police department up here with something like that? But yeah, the charges were dismissed, and sure, we can Google his name and it shows up the gross stuff that happened because there was articles of him down there. But you don't expect to have to Google someone when you're hiring them for something, right? But if it's coming to join a police department, you probably should. Absolutely, you don't. Yeah, you never know what someone's background was. And Erik's dad and. Oh, sorry, you had something up there. Sorry.
Okay.
That's not even the comment I wanted. Sorry. Christina says Erik's dad was retired police department from Arizona. Yeah, he was retired
Alan.
Police department, and really great guy. Alan, he was also retired military as well, Army, I believe. So you would expect him to have a lot of not necessarily resources, but skills and the know-how to try and help search for someone, but they are very devastated by this. He can't stomach having to go out and look for him, and I absolutely can't blame him. Like the message we got from the family was that Alan would call Erik his little buddy. Like they're like they were still seeing each other just the day before.
The day before he went missing.
Yeah, and they don't even live in the same area. I think they live a bit farther south, but they still saw each other all the time. Very, very close, very well connected to each other.
They went to dinner. I think they went shopping. They went bowling, I believe. Michelle said, "Is there another search planned?" I know the ladies that put the last one on are talking about it, but as soon as we know, we'll definitely share that information.
Yeah, absolutely, we will. And there's a couple things that they want us to go over as well. If anyone does want to go out and search on their own, we had a little safety sort of briefing packet that we had gone over. We don't still have the papers, but it's if you do want to go out and look for Erik, be very careful wherever you're going. Don't take any unnecessary risks. And if you do see anything that you think is credible, don't poke at it. Don't move anything. Confirm that it's something that's probably connected, but don't move anything, and immediately call the sheriff's department and have one of them come take a look at it. Don't worry about wasting their time. It's their job, right? So
I just had one up for Amy, and I wanted to show that other one. Where was it? Oh, I'm sorry, Amy, I just missed it. Oh, okay. I'm wondering if he gave him a ride and there was an altercation in the car resulting in him doing something to Erik, if that makes sense. We don't know. Like, it's an ongoing investigation. We hope that that's not the case. In my opinion, there's a lot of prejudice against people with mental illness.
Yeah,
yes, Murray,
we talked about that.
We agree, yeah. And my wife is a counselor, and she's talked multiple times about setting up. Police just need more training. And I think maybe they're starting to get that in the bigger towns, but you get up there to the county, small town, it could be a funding issue. It could be, they don't need to do it here. I don't know, but definitely more training to handle situations like that.
And we do have a comment here.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, go
ahead. So, was that Anonymous? I'm not sure how that's pronounced.
Anonymous. Anonymous.
Oh, that's what is anonymous. I like it. Anyways, I knew Cole from Florida, and he was always a drinker and a wife beater. Not a good person. Where we are from is a good old boys club, and things get covered up. I'm not surprised. And yeah, it still kind of blows my mind that potentially is still a thing around, unfortunately, if any good old boys club thing is happening, it's probably not going to go very well, because this story has gone like to the other end of the country. So right. There's a lot of people seeing there's a lot of eyes watching this. And maybe it's just a passing thing. Maybe it was just a story with a headline that's kind of crazy, but there are people who are paying attention to this. So there's a lot more eyes on it. Oh, we might have a call.
I was going to say, we do have a call in line, 207-619-2661, if you hear your voice on the big show here.
Hello?
Let's see, where are we at here? I apologize again. It's a lot of comments. We really appreciate the comments and a lot of good ideas. I'll go back through here and look at the ones I missed. Stephanie says, Cole should have never been allowed to be an officer in Maine. Small town departments lower their standards just to get bodies in the force, and it's not right. Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right, Stephanie. That's the question we've asked and we haven't gotten an answer to, Vanessa. Thank you for commenting. Is another search party set up to find Erik? And if there is, I'm sure there will be another one. The lady set up the last one, did a great job, and I know they want to do another one. And we'll definitely post that here. We asked about the tracking of the police vehicle to see where it traveled that day, and that's obviously part of the investigation. They're not really willing to share much information on that. See, it's easier when I have someone else to talk while I'm looking. I think Washburn needs to turn the case over to the Maine State Police as well. Yes, I agree.
Was I muted for all of that?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank God. I was
the hello part. The hello part you talked, but
okay, all right. Still trying to make sure I got this stuff figured out. No, it was just a simple question. The gentleman had a question about if it was standard for a like the police from Washburn to bring someone to Presque Isle, which I don't think is anything out of the ordinary considering how small of an area it is. It's the only hospital that would be nearby.
Yeah.
But you most definitely should have gotten a hold of, probably an ambulance to come take care of him, or at least someone else other than him. Sorry if I missed anything.
This cop clearly thought he could get away with anything. There's clearly something connecting him and Erik. Erik got in his car for a reason. I don't doubt that there is something they can find in phone records.
Yeah, there is most definitely stuff that connects. Sort of as much as we can say, but we're not sure to what extent, if it's.
Angie says,
that's as much as I can say.
When the initial missing person report was made, was Cole involved in receiving the information? So he received the information on Ateen Shaw's case, and she disappeared 2.5 years ago. He really did nothing with that case. Okay, she ran off. And then with Erik's case,
I think that went to the sheriff's department, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was the last person to see. Yeah, he was the last person to see Erik, but yeah. I'm not even gonna post that, Kimberly. Somebody had mentioned this last time too. I was curious if they knew each other in Florida. I mean, Florida's a big state, so I'm not sure if they actually did.
Well, they were both from like the Tampa area too, though, weren't they? Wasn't it Tampa or?
Yeah, just above Tampa. Jen says this is a public knowledge, so I can say this: if the family requests the Maine State Police take over they can do that, and the state police will meet with family and sheriff's department. Oh yeah, so I mean, Jen, I know you talked to Brenda as well. You should definitely mention that to her, because I feel like that good old boy network is pretty rugged up there with the sheriff's department in Rooster County. And Jen is part of Northland Investigation Services, and I probably said it wrong, but they're private investigators, so she knows what she's talking about. Ooh. Are you able to open that link up, Jeff?
I don't know if I want to open any random links.
No, it says...
No, from the Press Herald?
12/2/22, jury deliberations begin, retaliation trial brought by retired state trooper. Oh, that's a great idea, Keith, as well. Because Fiddlehead season's coming up here in just a little bit. So if you or anyone you know is picking fiddleheads, ask them to keep an eye out. Absolutely. Hernando County, an hour away. Okay, so an hour north of Tampa. And then, yes, Christina Erik lived in Arizona before he moved up here to Maine.
Was that in... I'm trying to see if I can find that article.
Crystal Davis, her son is at Cross. My town police refused to call an ambulance for my son, and when he was in distress, said that if he would not agree to go, that they couldn't take him. Now someone that works for EMS told me that's 100% incorrect. The police should have got EMS. My son's dead because of it. Yeah, that's an unfortunate story as well. Same type of scenario, right?
If this is the same story, what I'm seeing is, oh my God, ad blockers. Press Herald, Portland Press Herald wants me to sign up to their website to do it, but it looks like a retired trooper was suing the state police for retaliation because he was trying to report alleged illegal activity by the agency, and I guess he felt he was forced to take a demotion after reporting what he believed to be a illegal activity, and he was awarded $300,000. It went to jury, and he was rewarded $300,000 for
clearly enough evidence
whistleblower
there.
Retaliation.
Yeah,
that's gross.
Nick Cross was the first kind of start did, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
The Milo area. Crystal, we appreciate you still following our page. Like, you're an amazing woman, and know how hard that was for you and your family. And I'm glad that you were able to find him. It's unfortunate that he's not still with us.
And that was another scenario where he was having an episode, and it appeared as though the cops had just they couldn't detain him. And we'd spoken with the cops during that case or afterwards about that as well, and he did need help, but it still felt like he was kind of let down. Yeah, I think from what I remember, he'd kind of wandered off while the cop was trying to help him, but the cop claims that he couldn't have really done much. He couldn't take him in
because Nick refused to go, he says, but that's bullshit.
It feels that way, absolutely.
Dave Mishu says Washburn Limestone and Van Buren apartments are all closed. And this is true too. Ultimately, Nick was found less than a mile from where it was last year. I would really emphasize that people need to concentrate on that. Yeah, so the last place Nick was seen, he's found, less than a mile away. I'd like to think that we were fairly close, but I guess not close enough.
Oh, just checking messages here, not trying to ignore anybody or their conversation.
Was it Cape Breton? Where's Cape Breton? Yeah, that is it. So the boys on the track that got killed in the train you spoke about, where was that? That was in Cape Breton.
Yeah, unfortunately as well, the gentleman that covered that case with us, who was running the page, was it a week ago, passed away?
What?
The guy that we had on that did the case with us?
No, you're thinking of the Lost Boys. The
Lost Boys of Pickering. My mistake.
Pickering 6. Yeah, the 6 teenage boys went missing.
Yes, on
Canada.
the boat. Right. Okay.
Bruce. I can't think of his last name now.
I'm terrible with names. I shouldn't have even brought it up because now I look like an ass.
Pretty much.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, we do have the call-in line if anyone knows.
I just screwed you up. We really got to get better at this.
If anyone knew Erik or has anything that they wanted to say, feel free to give us a call. Don't be pressured into it. I know it might be a little nerve-wracking talking in front of people. We still screw it up all the time, so yeah, I mean, let's see if there's anything else any other details that we can maybe go over. Let me bring up the map again.
The Fox Garden, the Hen House. I like that. That's what it seems like.
Get Prescott in here. I think I had Freshies on here as well. So this was roughly the area that he was in. So this was the Freshies where he was allegedly dropped off. This is the Washburn Road right here. All of this goes through Crowsville and then into Washburn. And he lived pretty much in the center of Washburn. Actually, we'd set up the ladies, Jess and Stacy, had set up the hub for the search party right here, and he lived on this street, so it was right beside his house where we'd set it up. The one big problem with this sort of search area is, I mean, you can see some of it's kind of closed off, but there's a lot of trails, a lot of side roads, a lot of forest. The river here. One of our issues with searching that day when we were using the drones out there is, the drones are nice because you get an aerial view and you can see, you can cover a lot more ground with a drone, assuming there's not a lot of foliage. And that's one of the benefits of this time of the year is, the trees that aren't evergreens, you can get a good view of the ground, but the river was really high because of the rains that we've been having. So our view directly of the river, I think in some spots it was almost the gentleman said it was like 2 or 3 feet high in some of the spots. And I think the second day it was even higher. But
deeper than it typically is.
Yeah. So it did make it a little bit tough. So, as the water level comes down, there's a better chance of seeing stuff now that the ice is letting out. So we definitely encourage people, if you're in the area, if you have the time, if you're out doing something in the area anyways, check anywhere around this, around the rivers. And I mean, there's plenty of bends through all of this too. So it sucks to say, but if he did end up in the river, he probably would be hung up on something down through here. The odds of a continuous
There's a lot of trees down in the river and just wood. Vanessa White, I've never heard of Kendall Ray, so I don't think we should have them cover it. I'm just kidding. Someone should have Kendall Ray cover this to bring more attention, to have a video that can be rewatched with the facts. Yes, people kayak in the river. In fact, Stacy had mentioned that her and her husband have kayaks, and they were planning on doing that soon.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. They're both very invested in trying to help find Erik.
Do they know how deep that river is there? I mean, it looks fairly deep.
It's wide. It really is. It is a wide river. But I mean, the aerial footage here, you can still see some of the bed down underneath. So maybe it's not super deep. It was really dark when we were there. But like we said, the river was high, so there's a lot of sediment that was in there. It was very brown. I'm not entirely sure how deep it is, but it was a fairly wide river.
Yeah, actually, this is the second comment about fiddleheads. So
yeah,
Shirley says there will be people out getting fiddleheads soon, so that area will have a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
If not from Maine, you probably don't know what fiddleheads are, but they are delicious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's about all we have for the updates. We appreciate everyone, unless you had something more, Travis.
No. Ryan. I used to work with Ryan. My wife works with Ryan currently. If he's in the river and not hung up on anything in the river, he will get to Tinker Dam eventually. And I think that's in Halton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's hard telling how far someone could travel. I know people can go miles sometimes.
Keith says, this is a great idea. I'd be on board for this. Who rents jet skis? I would like to rent one and search the river. Like, that would be awesome.
But yeah, I think that's probably here. We'll get to a spot in this. It's not going to give Travis motion sickness.
Sorry, it's in Canada. He says. I thought Halton was the next dam down.
Oh. Yeah, this was all right. Actually, the spot that we stayed at was legitimately 50 feet from Canada, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Anonymous, absolutely. We absolutely hope that someone finds him as well. And, we appreciate everyone tuning in and sharing this, and that really helps get this story out there. And the more pressure that we can put on people to find answers, the better. And also, we went over this already, but we'll say it again that, if you have any information about Erik Foote or Ateen Shaw, please contact the Aroostook County Sheriff's Office at 207-532-3471.
And something else you can do is contact your congressperson to see if they can help with funding for the police department to further their training to handle these type of situations with people with mental illness. He's a former soldier, former military officer or military man who suffered PTSD, and no one wanted to help him that day.
Yeah. So, but
do we know this? I've heard that it wasn't completely frozen at that time. It had broken up quite a bit because we had kind of a January thaw.
January was really weird. This winter itself was really weird. So I don't know. The same. It went back and forth as to whether it was completely or partially. We're not entirely sure. But well, from us, we just want to thank all you guys for tuning in, and thank you for sharing this out there. It helps get the stories out of the people who are missing, and ultimately that's the goal, is to try and find them and help the families get closure. So thank you all very much for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
All right, have a good night, everyone.